Today I will be discussing The Walking Dead Season 5, giving my death prediction for the characters who I think will die this season. This video contains major spoilers from anyone who hasn't seen The Walking Dead first episode Season 4 all the way up to episode 16, the season finale. Now let's get started with the death predictions. The most likely candidates I see dying in Season 5 are probably, I would probably say Bob Stookey. Or Bob Stookey. I definitely see Bob dying. And reason being is because, we got a little flashback of Bob here and there, and we got a little backstory on him, and we know about him in the past and how he fared with other groups and how he felt like he was a jinx, and etc. etc. But at this point, I think Bob is one of those expendable characters or expendable characters. I don't really see. Now, I do want Bob to live in season 4, but if he dies, it wouldn't kind of affect me as a viewer because I'm not really emotionally attached to Bob's character like that. And like I say, in the comic book, Bob was a white Caucasian male. He didn't really have a major role in the comic book. But I'm not saying just because the characters in the comic book didn't have major roles doesn't mean that they will die in the TV show, because that's not obvious. Well, that's not obvious. Well, that's not true because of Daryl, because Daryl's not in the comic book, but you see he still has a major role in the TV series. So, like I say, probably I can see Bob dying. I want Bob to live, but if Bob dies, I won't be surprised at the same time. Next is Tera, Tyree's sister. With Tera, I would say that I think Tera is a cool character, but if Tera dies, it's something that I won't be surprised about either. If Tera dies, I definitely won't be surprised about her death. Because like I say, even though Tera is promoted to a series regular in the Walking Dead TV series, Tera could, like I say, it's not too much I know about Tera either. Although we did get a backstory on Tera and Tyreese in season 4 when they first arrived at the prison, because I remember when Tyreese was talking to the group, that's before Rick and the rest of them got back. He was telling Herschel that they was they're from Miami, Florida. And you have Tyree's comic book counterpart. He's from Miami, Florida, and he was an NFL football player, or a former pro NFL football player. But Tyreese was saying in the TV series that him and his sister was from Florida, and they had a next door neighbor who was always preparing for the zombie apocalypse, because he thought the zombie apocalypse would always happen. And he said that his next door neighbor went into his garage and had dug a hole and had put a tent in a hole. Well, when he had dug the hole in his garage, he had pretty much dug a tunnel in his garage, and he had put a tent down there, and he had put food supplies down there. And Tyreese said that him and his sister Sasha was down there. They was living down there until the guy had ran out of food. So Tyreese says him and his sister Sasha decides to leave. To leave the man's house, and then decides to go look for a refugee camp, and also look for food and supplies, because the guy had ran out of food when they was living at his house underground in his garage in a tent. But that's the only thing we really know about Sasha. And also about Sasha, we did get a lot of characterization / character development from Sasha in season 4. And we found out how Sasha puts her faith into her family and her hope into her family, in how she, and like I say, in how she just does that. She don't rely she don't rely on God or nothing like that to put her faith into. She put all that into Tyreese. She put her hope into Tyreese, her will into Tyreese, her reason for living is for Tyreese. And we can see how Sasha was kind of down in the previous season that just passed. But well, like I say, it's iffy about Sasha. If she dies, like I say, I won't be surprised, but I definitely want to see her live a little bit more longer. Next, Beth. Now with Beth, it was always a foreshadowing in season 4 about Beth dying, and you do have to remember that season 4 will be a continuation into season 5. I don't see them doing a time skip with Rick and the rest of his group stuck in a train cargo for who knows for how many months. So about Beth, I could possibly see Beth dying because we did see Beth we did hear Beth saying some stuff, possibly giving some foreshadowing for season 5 of her death, because she was talking to Daryl. When she was talking to Daryl, she says, she pretty much tell Daryl that when this stuff all ends, you're going to be the last one standing, because she was pretty much referring to saying that Daryl is strong, and she's not as strong as Daryl is. She says that he will be the last man standing, and then she also goes on to say that you're going to miss me when I'm gone, Daryl Dixon. And then you see the stuff with the funeral home with her playing the piano, and then you see a lot more stuff. So Beth could possibly die this season. That's just my thoughts on it. Next, Maggie. Now I don't know why I put Maggie in this category, but hey, but no, let me take that back, because I think that Maggie has a purpose. She does she has a purpose, and she do have a major role to fulfill in the Walking Dead TV series, just like her comic book counterpart has done in the comic book series. So I think that Maggie still have that a role to fulfill. And with this season, Maggie might end up getting pregnant for Glenn. And that right there will be her purpose. And that right there give the writers an opportunity to keep Maggie in the TV series even longer. If you get what I'm saying. But I'm gonna take Maggie out that category of death. But you got to remember, this is The Walking Dead. So now for the people that's in the tournaments and who I see dying. Gareth, definitely. I definitely see Gareth dying, because at this point, I think Gareth is a villain. That's just my predictive speculation. I think he is a villain, and he is promoted to a series regular, but that do not mean he's promoted to a series regular in Rick's group, or even joining Rick's group. I think he's promoted to a series regular as being a villain, just like the governor was, because the governor was promoted to a series regular in The Walking Dead season 4 as being a villain. So I think Gareth is a villain, and we know how villains, we know what happened to villains. Not even in The Walking Dead. Villains in general, we know what happened to them. Eventually, they end up getting killed, or they end up getting killed, or they end up dying. All the same, Gareth will die. I definitely see him dying in this season. I think Gareth is a villain. He's Chris from the Hunters from the Walking Dead comic book. Now, Mary. Now, Mary is the old woman that we saw cooking on the grill. Now, I definitely see Mary dying. There's no explaining about this or nothing. I see Mary dying. Just my opinion. Mary will die. Also, all of Gareth's people that's at the tournaments, I see all of them dying. I definitely see all of them dying. I don't really want to go in details about it, but I see his people dying behind him after him and Mary die, or they might die before Gareth and Mary. But I see all the people at tournaments dying. Now, I can't see them killing off the main core characters like Rick Grimes, of course. We still have Rick. Michonne, because I remember Robert Kirkman was talking in the interview and he said that Michonne does have a few more seasons. Well, she will be in a couple of seasons when they were talking about season 3. When we had got that cliffhanger seeing Michonne save Andrea. And I was asking Robert Kirkman who she was, and he says he ain't really get no details. He said the only way you would know if you was a comic book reader. So he says Michonne will be sticking around for a few more seasons. Now, I don't know how long the Walking Dead TV series will go, but I definitely see Michonne sticking around. Next, you got Coral Grimes. Like I say, Coral is Rick is Carl. I think Carl will live because Carl is Rick's hope, his faith, his motivation, and that and everything Rick does is for Carl. Even when it comes to looking for a place to stay, a sanctuary, Rick is always looking for that place to benefit him and Carl. In the group, don't get me wrong, in the group too, but like I say, Carl is what is the person that's pretty much keeping Rick's humanity intact. He was the person at first that had Rick he was the reason that Rick was he was the reason that Rick was compressing his brutality was because of Carl, because he didn't want Carl to see him do those type of things. But we saw in the previous season that just aired that Rick pretty much says that I have to do these things in order to survive. This, he says, that's how I was able to keep me safe and keep Carl safe. And he says, I'll do anything for him. So Carl is his faith. That's his hope. And Carl definitely have a role to fulfill still in the Walking Dead TV series. Now, Glenn. We have Glenn. Now, Glenn, I can see Glenn. See, I'm iffy about Glenn because if you're a Walking Dead comic book reader, you would know about Glenn. I would say save Glenn for you know who. You're gonna save Glenn for whoever coming his way. But I definitely see Glenn lasting all the way to Washington D.C., the Alexandria safety zone, and who knows, probably even past that because the TV series is different from the comic book series. Also, I cannot see them killing off Daryl Dixon. I don't know if it's that he's a fan favorite or a fangirl favorite. I don't know what it is, but I don't see them killing off Daryl Dixon yet. Although we do have Abraham in the group that could replace him. I'm just saying, but I don't see him killing off Daryl Dixon yet because Daryl Dixon, he does bring that strength to the group. He's also a motivation to Rick. Because when you talk about Rick, you got to put Daryl in that same category because, like I say, Daryl brings that strength to the group. He makes the group stronger. And also, he makes Rick a stronger person. He motivates Rick to do better. And like I say, Rick said in the previous episode that he tells Daryl that he says that you are my brother. So this shows how much he really cares about Daryl, and that shows how much Daryl really cares about Rick. Because in season 3, Daryl had called Rick, had told Rick, "You're part of my family," or he said, he said, "You are my family." He said, "You are family." So this right here shows you their relationship. Now, Abraham has just got introduced into the Walking Dead TV series. I do not see Abraham dying this season, or at least in season 5, because, like I say, Abraham is a badass. We still have journeys left to see what Abraham has to offer for his character. I can't wait, man, because Abraham, like I say, in the comic book series, he lived for a good decent amount of time. Well, or he's still around. But yeah, I definitely want to see what Abraham has to offer in the Walking Dead TV series. We don't know much about Abraham yet. The only thing we know is that he's out there trying to head to Washington, D.C. because he believes that Eugene has a cure for the zombie apocalypse to cure well to fight the infection. And Abraham is pretty much being a hero, or at least trying to be a hero, trying to save mankind. And that's Abraham's goal right now. And he puts that before anything to save mankind. Get Eugene to Washington, D.C. so he can get that cure there and save mankind and stop this outbreak from happening again. So I definitely see Abraham. We definitely still got a lot more to go Abraham. Next, Rosita. Yeah, I see Rosita lasting a little bit more while. Well, a little bit more. A little more while in the TV series. Carl. I see Carl lasting. No, Carol. Now, we might see a death of Carol, but who knows? I definitely see Carol living. Now, Judith. Now, I definitely see Judith living because, well, at least in a couple of episodes of season 5, because if Rick and Carl does see Judith again, it's going to make them happy, but if she dies again, I think this time she could die in front of their face. And I don't want to see Rick and Carl. I don't want to see them go through that stuff again that they had went through when they thought she had died the first time. Because at this point you see Rick and Carl, they coping with it pretty good now. And I don't want history to repeat itself. And she ends up actually dying this time in front of their eyes. And then we're gonna have them repeating, like I said, repeating history again, feeling sad again, feeling emotional, feeling guilt. You're gonna have that again. And right now they're coping with it because they think she dead. But like I say, once they see her again and realize she's still alive, let's just say what if she dies? What if she actually dies this time in front of their face, in front of their eyes, and they see it? We're gonna have that same thing again. Rick feeling sad, feeling depressed, that type of stuff. Like I say, right now they think she's dead, so they're coping with it better than I expected. So, and also Eugene. Eugene definitely living for season 5. I definitely see Eugene making it out of season 5. But Robert Kirkman did say ain't no character safe in his comic book or show. So anything can happen. So who knows? The people that I think might live will die. Could die. Now, let's do some Walking Dead. Let's do some Walking Dead season 5 death predictions together, y'all. Tell me who you think might die this season. Leave your thoughts in the comment section down below for season 5. Okay, thank y'all for always watching. Appreciate that. Have a blessed day. This right here was my death prediction for The Walking Dead season 5. Like I say, leave y'all comments in the comment section down below on who you think could possibly die, or who you think will die, or who you think might die. So, hope you guys enjoyed this video. Have a blessed day. Remember to subscribe, thumbs up the video, and